Good morning, children. Stay safely at home and also do your study related work properly. Now, today I'll discuss the topic flotation. Means when you are keeping a body within a liquid, then depending on the weight of the body and upthrust exerted by the body, three cases may arise. So as you know, I always prefer to teach you point wise, and I also want my children should note down everything point wise, learn point wise and write point wise. Okay, for more score, better score. Now here, this is the first case. If the weight of the body is such that weight is greater than the upthrust exerted by the body. So you see, what is the first condition? That weight of the body is greater than upthrust. So you see what will happen? The downward force is more. Alright, so the net force acts in the downward direction. So here you can write this point also, that net force W minus U acts in the downward direction as a result body sinks. Alright, so this is the first thing, that weight of the body is greater than upthrust acting on the body. Now, you know, weight you can write at volume of the body, density of solid, rho S is what? S stand for solid, means density of the body into G. What is the upthrust? Upthrust is volume of the displaced liquid, which is equal to volume of the body. Why volume of displaced liquid equal to volume of the body? Because the body is completely submerged within the liquid. Alright. So you see V and G you can cancel. So rho S is greater than rho L. So these are the conditions that when a body will sink inside a liquid. When the body is kept within the liquid, what will happen? The body will sink inside the liquid. Alright. So this is the first case, that when weight is greater than upthrust, then density of the solid becomes greater than, it means density of the solid greater than density of the liquid. As a result, the body sinks in the liquid. And what is the cause? That net force, what is the net force? W is bigger than U, and W in the downward direction, W minus U acts in the downward direction. As a result, body sinks. Alright. Now, the next case is the density of the solid and the density of the liquid is such that weight of the body is equal to upthrust acting on the body when the body is completely submerged. Okay, so look at the condition, the body is completely submerged. Then what will happen? Weight, as I said already, you can write volume of the body, density of the body into G. What will be the upthrust? Volume of displaced liquid, which is equal to volume of the body. That's why in both the cases I have written V, multiplied by density of the liquid into G. So you see, you are getting density of the solid equal to density of the liquid. Then what will happen? The body floats in the liquid completely submerged. And under this condition, what is the apparent weight of the body inside the liquid? You know, apparent weight of the body inside the liquid is W minus U. As W equal to U, so what will be the apparent weight of the body inside the liquid? 0. So this is the most important part. This is only known as principle of flotation. I will discuss it later again. So, apparent weight of a floating body is always equal to 0. Alright. And remember that the body will float only when weight of the body is equal to upthrust acting on the body, or density of the solid, density of the body is equal to density of the liquid. Now this last case of flotation is very interesting. Just try to understand it. Suppose you have kept a body within a liquid, you have kept it completely submerged. That weight of the body is less than upthrust acting on the body when it is completely submerged. Alright, so here I am writing W less than U when it is completely submerged. Alright. Now you see what will happen. If W is less than U, it means density of the solid is less than density of the liquid. Because you will write again V rho S G. Here you will write down V rho L G. V and G cancel. So density of the solid is less than density of the liquid. So you see, what is the net force acting on the body? U is in the upward direction, W is in the downward direction. Both are acting in the opposite direction. So you have to subtract to get the net force. Now how you will subtract? You will subtract the smaller one, smaller force from the bigger force. So U minus W is the net force. Okay, acting on the body. But in which direction? In the upward direction, because bigger force is in the upward direction. So as net force is acting in the upward direction, what will happen to the body? The body will rise up. Alright, you see, just look at it. You have forced it to be completely submerged, but as weight is less than upthrust, as density of the body is less than density of the liquid, what will happen? The body will rise up. Alright, now the question is, how long the body will rise up? The body will rise up till W becomes, the body will rise up till weight of the body becomes equal to upthrust. Alright, how weight of the body will become equal to upthrust? You see, look at the diagram. Now the body is partially submerged. Okay, the body is partially submerged. That's why I have underlined the term. The body is partially submerged. Now, under this condition, two things you have to remember. The first thing is that as the body is floating, so in this case W equal to upthrust. But look at it, upthrust is equal to small v into rho L into G. I hope you can remember in case 1 and case 2, in both the cases, I have used the same V on the left side and right side. But in this case, what you have to do, upthrust will be small v. What is small v here? The volume of the submerged part. Okay, what is small v? Small v is the volume of the submerged part, and you can write it as volume of displaced liquid also. Whereas big V is what? Big V is the total volume of the body. Alright. Another point I have, as there is no place, I have not written but showed in the diagram. Just you look at it, the center of gravity, although in the first lecture I said it already. I am just repeating the point. Center of gravity lie above the center of buoyancy. What does B represent? Center of buoyancy. What is center of buoyancy? The point at which upthrust acts. That is known as center of buoyancy. And what is this one? Center of gravity G. Center of gravity is the point at which weight acts. So here look at the position of G and B. B is below G. Alright. But both of them lie on the same vertical line. So these are the physics behind a body partially submerged, floating inside a liquid but partially submerged. As I already mentioned, the last point I have shown in the diagram, verbally I have said, but I have not written it. Okay, but everyone, both the diagrams you must write, and you must write all the points like this. So it will be, while drawing weight and upthrust, you see, upthrust I have drawn bigger than weight. Okay, and here when I have drawn it, then upthrust and weight, they are equal. So that is the point also you must take care while drawing the diagram, and you must learn this flotation. All the three cases are the most important part of this chapter. Now girls, I have written the point because I do not want to take the risk. That B, center of buoyancy, the point at which U acts, lies below G. What is G? Center of gravity, the point at which W acts. This is the point, and both G and B lie on the same vertical line, as I said already. And apparent weight of the floating body, floating partially submerged. You see the floating body, this is floating. Okay, in this case also W and U, they are equal. So W minus U equal to 0. Alright. So these are the points you have to learn and remember for the third cases. Third cases is little bit longer and points are also more. So you must practice it properly. Now already we have learned this one, that that when a body is floating, may be completely submerged or partially submerged. We have seen that always weight of the body becomes equal to upthrust acting on the body. And you know, according to Archimedes principle, what is upthrust? The weight of the liquid displaced by the submerged part of the body. Alright, so that is only principle of flotation. Point wise, concept wise, exam wise, principle of flotation is very important. That's why I have put this mark. Okay, so you must learn the statement of principle of flotation. What is principle of flotation? The weight of a floating body is equal to weight of the liquid displaced by its submerged part, that is upthrust. This weight of the liquid displaced by its submerged part is nothing but upthrust. Alright, another point you have to remember, that apparent weight of a floating body is always equal to 0, because if the body is floating, it means W and upthrust, they are equal. Weight and upthrust, they are equal. So apparent weight, as it is W minus U, it is always 0. Okay, these two are the very important point of this chapter. You must remember it, especially the second one, that apparent weight of a floating body is always equal to 0 as according to the principle of flotation, because according to principle of flotation only W is equal to U. Now we will consider the relation between the total volume of a body and volume of the submerged part with the density of the body and density of the liquid. Alright. Now you know, as the body is floating, alright, so what you can write, as the body is floating, how it is floating? Partially submerged. So you can write W equal to U. Now what is W again? Total volume of the body, density of the solid into G. What is the upthrust? Volume of displaced liquid, small v, density of liquid into G. So you see G and G cancel. So you can write small v by big V is equal to rho S by rho L. This is the important relation you have to write. What is V? Volume of submerged part divided by, so volume of submerged part divided by total volume of the body is equal to density of the solid divided by density of the liquid. This relation is very important for solving the numericals. Alright, so you see, if you consider the first point, if you consider that density of the solid is greater than density, if you consider two solids, okay, which one is heavier than the other, so the heavy solid will have more volume within the liquid. All right, this is the point you have to remember, that heavy solid will have more volume within the liquid. Alright, because you see from this relation it is big clear, if the value of rho S is more, then value of small v will also be more. Alright, what does it mean? That heavy solid, they float with more volume within the liquid, whereas a lighter solid float with less volume within the liquid. Now we will apply this concept in some practical cases in our day-to-day life. Now you consider the first application, flotation of iron ship. From 6th standard you are studying this topic, nothing new to you. Okay, 6th standard so elaborately I have not discussed. Now it is elaborate discussion as you have the concept of Archimedes principle and principle of flotation. Now, why the iron nail sinks in the water? Iron nail is made up of iron, but the ships are also made up of iron, but a ship can float in water. Alright, what is the cause? Iron nail, if you consider the iron nail, density of iron is greater than density of water. So, weight of the iron nail is greater than upthrust acting on the iron nail. So, what will happen when weight is greater? You know what happens to the body? The body sinks, so the nail sinks. So, this is the way, point wise, you will write down the answer in your exam. That for iron nail, density of iron greater than density of water, therefore weight of iron greater than upthrust acting on iron, so iron nail, so the nail sinks. Alright, now come to the case of iron ship. the ship is very large in volume, okay, and it is hollow from within. Is that clear? So these are the 2 points examiner wants. That ship is hollow from inside and volume is very large. That's why I have underlined. Okay. Now you see, as it is hollow from inside, when it is hollow, what is there within the ship? It is air. So this diagram you don't have to draw. Just I am giving the example. So you see, this line is made up of iron, but here it is air. So if you calculate the average density of the shape, then average density of shape is greater than density of water. And you know, when these things happens, the density of the solid is less than density of water, density of the liquid, the last case of flotation. Then what happens? The body floats partially submerged. So the ship can float partially submerged. How the ship will float? Partially submerged. Alright. So this is the way point wise one should write down the answer in exam, highlighting the key words and the important points. But that diagram please don't draw. Now next point is, a loaded ship is submerged more than an unloaded ship. Why it will happen? From your common sense only you can give the answer. When you are considering a loaded ship, then you have to consider the weight of the ship plus the weight of the things you have kept within the ship. It means what? The net weight, the overall weight of the ship increases. So when the downward force will increase, then what will happen? The body will float with more portion submerged within the liquid. So simply you have to write this, that for loaded ship W increases. As a result, it submerged more and floats when W equal to upthrust. And for unloaded ship, W is less. Weight of the ship, overall weight of the ship is less. As a result, it submerged less within the water. Now, when a ship moves from sea to river, then it has been found that it submerged more within river water. Alright, the question is why? Very simple. Because the density of sea water is greater than density of river water. Alright, so you see, as density of sea water is more, so less volume of the ship if within water, then the upthrust produced will be able to balance the weight. But in case of river water, what is happening? You know, upthrust is equal to volume of dispersed liquid into density of the liquid into G. So as the density is less, density of river water is less. So within the river water, more volume of the shape required to be within the water, so that the upthrust can balance the weight of the ship and the ship can float. So these are the points you have to write. Means whatever I have said so elaborate, if you are unable to write, at least these 2 points you have to write. The density of sea water greater than density of river water, that is the cause that ship floats more portion within the river water. And why it happens? Because according to law of flotation, a greater volume of water, remember that when the density is less, the volume of the body within the liquid should be more. So greater volume of water is required to be displaced in river water. So this is the way point wise you can answer this question. And you can answer the means your answer will be the same if it comes that when a ship moves from one sea to another sea, then also this will happen. The sea whose density of water is more, then less volume of ship will be within water, and the sea where density of water is less, more volume of ship will be within the water. Alright. Now next concept is the concept of plimsoll line. Alright. Now if you consider the previous discussion, just consider this fact. Suppose a ship, it is in sea water. Alright, this is sea water. Now when you are loading the ship and the ship is sailing in sea water, then suppose you have loaded in such a manner that only this portion, you just look at the diagram, this small portion is above sea water. Alright, you have loaded it like this. Now the sea has entered into the river water. And you know, inside river water, when the ship will move, then it will submerge more within river water. So you see, only this portion, very small portion, was out of water when the ship was sailing in sea water. So when it will enter into the river water, as it will try to submerge more, then you see what is happening, that it may come down, it may sink. Alright, so you see, while loading a ship, you have to be very careful. Alright, because when the ship will sail from one sea to another sea, okay, let me rub the diagram. So you see, when a ship is loaded, the ship is loaded in such a manner that when it will sail from one sea to another sea, or sea to river, or river to sea, never it will sink completely. So how it is done? This is the way it is done. If you consider the ship, on the ship a white line is painted. A white line is painted on the body of the ship. Alright, now when you are considering the empty ship, you see the empty ship, it is like this. Alright, why? The less portion, and this is the plimsoll line. So you see, when you are loading it, then what will happen? Slowly it will go, it will submerge within the water. Now, when the loading is stopped, when it will touch the water, means when it will touch, the plimsoll line will touch the water, then loading is stopped. Alright, after that loading is not allowed. So you see, this plimsoll line, it indicates the safe limit of loading of a ship, and the plimsoll line is painted white on the side of a ship, and which indicates the safe limit of loading of a ship. So the definition of plimsoll line you must learn, because this is an important concept, important point. And you must remember regarding the plimsoll line, the second point also, that when the plimsoll line touches water, then the loading of the ship is stopped. These diagrams please do not draw. Okay, I repeat, the diagrams that for explanation I have drawn, you don't need to draw the diagram. Now next is, if it is an unloaded ship, if it is a loaded ship, what I said, that till the plimsoll line you can load it. But if it is an unloaded ship, then also it is very dangerous. Why it is very dangerous? Just try to understand it. Unloaded ship means what? A large part is, just see, large part is above water. So what happens? Center of gravity, it lies much higher than the center of buoyancy. Just look at the gap is more. Then what is happening? At the center of gravity, weight acts, and at the buoyancy, at the center of buoyancy, upthrust acts. So it happens, a strong wind, if it strikes it, then the ship remains in unstable equilibrium. Unstable equilibrium is what? If you change the equilibrium position, then what will happen? It will not be able to regain its equilibrium position again. That is known as the unstable equilibrium. So just look at it. This is the condition when the ship is unloaded. Completely unloaded. So a strong wind striking it, then what will happen? It will just blow off the ship, or the ship may just simply topple down within water. Alright. So what you have to do? You have to bring down this G. Okay. So means center of gravity, you have to lower it down. So how one can lower down the center of gravity? By making the object more heavy. Alright, so how you can make it more heavy? Because it is an unloaded ship, so you cannot load anything. That's why what generally is done, that bags full of sand or stone, which are known as the ballast. Ballast, they are kept at the bottom of the ship. So here you see what you are doing. I am just drawing the diagram here. What you are doing, you are keeping here the bags full of stone and or sand. which are known as ballast. So when you are keeping this, then what will happen? It will neither means sink or it will float. Rather, it will float in stable equilibrium. Alright. So these two diagrams, please do not draw diagrams for only for the explanation. Now answer how we will write point wise with the keywords that examiner wants. This is the way you must write. Alright, that an unloaded ship is filled with ballast at the bottom. Why? For a floating unloaded ship, G lies, G is the center of gravity, higher than B. Okay, so the ship is in unstable equilibrium. Unstable equilibrium is what? Simply due to any force, just it is displaced from its position, it will not be able to return to its original position. Okay, original orientation. So there is a danger that it may get blown over by strong winds. So what you have to do? The bottom of the ship is loaded with bags. This is bags. Bags of sand or stone, which are known as ballast, which lowers. This ballast, what they do? They lowers the position of G and the ship remains in stable equilibrium. Alright. So these are all the points, very interesting, important for exam, related with the floating of a ship. Okay, you must learn and practice it at home.